This is Mac OS Ken.
Hardware and supply chain chatter. South Korea may upend some app stores. And a quick shot of TV talk. It is Wednesday, the 25th of August, 2021. I'm Ken Ray, and this is news from Mac OS Ken. Brought to you by yours truly and sponsored by Upstart. Fair and fast personal loans. Learn more and check your rate at upstart.com/macOSKen. This show is also sponsored by Headspace. Meditation made simple. Whether you're looking for music to help you focus, a quick SOS meditation to pull you out of a funk, or tools to build a lifelong meditation practice, you can find all of that and more with Headspace. I've told you over the past several months how Headspace has helped me with new practices to help me center and focus. That's not just good for me, it's good for the people around me too. But I'm just one guy. People who study this stuff say Headspace really does help. Separate studies conducted by Northeastern University found that 3 weeks of Headspace increased compassion by 23%, and reduced aggression by 57%. Mindfulness and meditation may feel self-indulgent, but it's not just for you. That said, you deserve to feel happier, and Headspace is meditation made simple. Go to headspace.com/macOSKen. That's headspace.com/macOSKen for a free 1-month trial with access to Headspace's full library of meditations for every situation. This is the best deal offered right now. Head to headspace.com/macOSKen today. iPad and the Mac are apparently going strong in Western Europe. Apple Insider has new numbers from market tracker Canalys. The piece says the PC market there is still growing. That's thanks to all the working from home people are doing, which is, of course, due to COVID-19. Apple Insider has Canalys indicating that Apple is the 5th largest computer vendor in the region with a 9% market share, following behind Acer, Dell, HP, and Lenovo. But it's growing faster than the rest. While the general computer market saw 3% growth for the June quarter versus the same quarter a year earlier, the Mac saw growth of 11%. An analyst for the firm says growth for the market as a whole would have been bigger were it not for component shortages hampering production and thus sales. Cool as 11% growth for the Mac sounds, it was dwarfed by growth for iPad. Canalys says tablet shipments were up 18% for the June quarter versus the same quarter a year earlier. iPad's growth of 73% makes the 18% for tablets look comical, though iPad is actually part of a comedy duo in this case. Lenovo saw the most significant growth, 87% year over year. That gave it a 20% market share, good enough for second place to iPad's first place finish of 36% in Western Europe. All of that is good for now for Apple and its ilk, though they are once again being set up for tough compares. Canalys research manager Ben Stanton is quoted in the report saying, "Overall, the economic recovery looks promising in Western Europe. Demand for PC products is still growing, but unlikely to skyrocket again without another catalyst as strong as the 2020 pandemic's digital acceleration." Oh, that's the kind of thing you hear at the start of a movie. COVID-22 maybe, or COVID-19 Theta. Let's not see either of those movies. From stuff Apple's made to stuff Apple is making, where Apple equals partners in the supply chain. A Nikkei report says Luxshare Precision Industry reported revenue for the first half of the year, and it was through the roof. According to the report, first half revenue grew more than 30% from a year ago to 48.14 billion yuan, roughly $7.42 billion US. Net profit was up 22% to 3.08 billion yuan, roughly $476 million. Indications in the report are that the growth is thanks to Luxshare's deepening relationship with Apple. The company entered Apple's supply chain in 2013, supplying connectors for the Cupertino company. They moved up to producing AirPods in 2017. In 2019, Luxshare started producing Apple Watch. This year, it's going to the show, joining the ranks of iPhone producers for the first time. That said, the company still seems to be in the tryout phase. Luxshare will build up to 3% of the upcoming iPhone 13 series, according to Nikkei, including the premium model that is expected to be called iPhone 13 Pro. As for what happens next for the firm, well, that depends on what happens next. According to Nikkei, Luxshare's elevation to the status of iPhone assembler demonstrates its improving manufacturing capability, given Apple's strict quality standards and requirements. Analysts say it now faces a test of whether it can provide stable quality when the model begins mass production. Of course, Luxshare isn't the only company to share in Apple's bounty. Lens Technology, a supplier of glass and metal casings for iPhone, saw first half revenue up 40%. iPhone battery supplier Sunwoda Electronics saw second quarter revenue rise 24%, while profit for the quarter jumped 350%, according to Nikkei. The race to upend the app stores run by Apple and Google may be won by South Korea. iDownload blog highlights a Reuters report that says the country is on the verge of passing legislation that would ban companies like Google and Apple from requiring developers to use their own payment systems. And after that, Ragnarok. In a statement, says the Reuters piece, Apple said the bill will put users who purchase digital goods from other sources at risk of fraud, undermine their privacy protections, and make it difficult to manage their purchases. The iPhone maker said it believes user trust in App Store purchases will decrease as a result of this proposal, leading to fewer opportunities for the over 482,000 registered developers in Korea who have earned more than $7.3 billion to date with Apple. So here's a weird ask. Maybe the U.S. government could lend a hand? Yes, the same U.S. government that's also looking at forcing other payment methods and third-party app stores on Apple. A piece from Apple Insider says both Apple and Google are looking to the U.S. government for help. It looks like this is an appeal that actually started last year, when the Information Technology Industry Council, a trade group backed by Apple and Google among others, started making requests. Specifically, the piece says the group in October urged the U.S. Trade Representative to note concerns about the South Korean bill in an annual report, highlighting barriers to foreign trade, according to the New York Times. Of course, there are a few issues here. Among them, the last U.S. administration really liked to be liked by big business, even by big tech, depending on the day. The current administration seems less concerned with such things. Additionally, parties on both sides of the aisle in the U.S. are already trying to do what South Korea looks poised to do. U.S. Trade Representative Adam Hodge was quoted in the iDownload blog piece, saying, "We are engaging a range of stakeholders to gather facts as legislation is considered in Korea, recognizing the need to distinguish between discrimination against American companies and promoting competition." One might hope for the cavalry, but maybe don't expect it. Then again, Apple CEO Tim Cook is going to the White House today. Maybe one hand could wash the other. Maybe a little quid pro. No. A note for developers and a trip to the Phantom Zone in a moment, but first a word from Upstart. Fair and fast personal loans. Are you making your credit card payments? Cool. Wouldn't it be better to get ahead of them? That's where Upstart comes in. Whether it's paying off credit cards, consolidating high-interest debt, or funding personal expenses, over 500,000 people have used Upstart to get a simple, fixed monthly payment. Upstart looks at more than your credit score, factoring in income and employment history. That lets them offer smarter rates with trusted partners. So you might be able to take all those high interest payments you're making a few places and turn them into one simple payment with lower interest. Pretty hip. With a 5-minute online rate check, you can see your rate up front for loans between $1,000 to $50,000, and you can receive funds as fast as 1 business day after accepting your loan. Find out how Upstart can lower your monthly payments today when you go to upstart.com/macOSKen. UPSTART. That's upstart.com/macOSKen. Don't forget to use my URL to let them know I sent you. Loan amounts will be determined based on your credit, income, and certain other information provided in your loan application. Go to upstart.com/macOSKen. TestFlight for the Mac is spinning up. Mac Rumors says Apple released a beta of the software to developers on Tuesday. Not unlike TestFlight for iOS, the Mac counterpart is meant to make it simple for developers to test beta versions of macOS apps before being released to the public. Be warned, it is not ready for prime time. That's why they call it a beta. According to Mac Rumors, Apple says that when using this version of TestFlight on macOS Monterey Beta 5 or earlier, users will need to quit the beta version of a native Mac app before updating it, as the system will offer a prompt to quit before updating. VoiceOver is also not fully functional in the TestFlight beta, according to the report. Remember when Hulu was just for reruns? Yeah, it's got a lot of original content these days, and that content is looking sharp on Apple TV. Mac Rumors says the streaming service has started implementing HDR, HDR10, HDR10 Plus, and Dolby Vision for some of its original television shows and movies, and that is working for Apple's digital living room device. If you're not sure whether the content you're watching is HDR, seriously, don't you think you'd be happier not knowing? I mean, if you can't tell the difference, why set yourself up for disappointment? Yeah, maybe that's your thing. If it is, Mac Rumors says Hulu TV shows and movies that support HDR content will display an HDR badge on the details page if they're available to stream in HDR. As for which devices support the format, the report says Hulu's HDR content is available on the 5th generation Apple TV 4K and later, as well as the Chromecast Ultra, Fire TV devices, Roku devices, and Vizio TVs. HDR support is not available on mobile devices at this time. See, you'd have probably been happier not even knowing that. Oh well. Add another star to the Shining Girls. Deadline says Amy Brenneman will join Elizabeth Moss in the creepy-sounding, time-bending thriller series. No word on when that series will premiere. Add one as well to 5 Days at Memorial. Another piece from Deadline says Joe Carroll has joined that cast. Jogging the memory, the piece says 5 Days at Memorial chronicles the first 5 days in a New Orleans hospital after Hurricane Katrina made landfall. Not a workplace comedy. Carroll comes from such series as FBI and New Amsterdam. He's also set to appear in the next season of The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel for Amazon. And finally today, you can see the start of See Season 2 this Friday, though there's a first look featurette to see now. iDownloadBlog says that hit YouTube on Tuesday. I haven't watched it because I haven't watched the show because it looks dark and depressing, and who wants that in their coffee? I know, some people do. Back in the day, I'd have been all about that. That day was about 10 years ago. If you're into it though, or if you're looking for a taste, you can catch the Season 2 featurette on YouTube. As mentioned earlier, the second season starts its run this Friday, the 27th of August, on Apple TV+. Coming up in a few minutes, Mac Geek Gab co-host Dave Hamilton and I dive into Apple's expanded protections for children plans. Where do we land on them? I wish I could remember. You'll have to listen and find out, and who knows, maybe I will too. The show is called In a Few Minutes. Find it and listen at macosken.com or wherever you get podcasts. macOS Ken, brought to you by me and sponsored by Headspace. Meditation made simple. Get a free 1-month trial at headspace.com/macOSken. This show is also sponsored by Upstart. Fair and fast personal loans. Learn more and check your rate at upstart.com/macOSken. Advertising handled by Backbeat Media. Online at backbeatmedia.com. You can reach me a couple of ways. Info at macosken.com or call 716-780-4080. Until next time, that is news from macOS Ken. I'm Ken Ray.
Ciao.